Kia ora tātou, welcome back to the Wargaming Den. Today's games, I've got day 2 of Oamaru Onslaught that was held at the weekend. Pretty successful day 1, going 2 wins and a loss, which considering the run I'd had against Gordon with my Varangur beforehand, I was very happy with. And very interesting game on game number 4, when I got to face another Varangur army. First time we've had Varangur at our tournaments, and ended up playing another player with them. So the mission we were playing was Smoke and Mirrors. Let's have a look at the army list. And to start, just a quick recap of my army. I've got 12 units, 22 unit strength, I think it was. It might have been 24, but I think it's 22. I took 2 units of Night Raiders, a regiment of Huskars with the Mead of Madness, 3 regiments of Mounted Sons, some Tundra Wolves, a Magus with Alchemist Curse and Lightning Bolt, a Lord with the Devoted Icon to give stealthy to lots of my troops, 2 Thanes on Frostfangs, one's got the Trickster's Wand, and a Snow Troll Prime. So pretty low nerve on some of my units, very different army to the one you're about to see. And here we have Dave's version of the Varangur. His is a pretty elite army. He's got 10 units and only a total unit strength of 15. So there's some big expensive units in this army. He's taken 2 regiments of Huskars. He's got no items with them. I really do think Huskars benefit from the Mead of Madness and or the potion of the Brew of Haste, whatever it is, just to increase that charge range of theirs. 11's just a little bit light for me. He's taken 2 hordes of the Fallen. One's got the Brew of Strength and the other the Chant of Hate, and they're weighing in at 295 and 285 points each. So they're 2 very large, expensive units that he wants to do quite a bit with. I've never tried the Magus Conclaves. He's taken 2 of them, but I was very worried about their shooting and wanting to do all I could to either get rid of them early or use my stealth aura to try and minimize their shooting. But if you give them 4, 5 or 6 turns of shooting, they really can turn the tide, especially on those injured units later on in the game. So yeah, wanted to try and do something to deal with them. He took a Cavern Dweller. I tried one not so long ago and really quite liked it, but in the end I decided I wanted that 3rd regiment of Mounted Sons, so swapped them out for the extra unit strength and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how the Cavern Dweller performs for Dave. He's taken a Lord on a horse, given him the Axe of Giant Slayer and a Snow Fox, so he's got 7 attacks and movement of 16 on the charge, so a lot faster than my Lord. He's taken a Lord on a Frostfang, which is always a popular option, given him the Hans Sanguinary Scripture, so he can get a little bit of life leech back from combats. And finally, he's taken Krufnur, who is 160 points. Now, he played Nigel last game on day 1, and on one turn Krufnur used his Give Me Their Head ability on an assassin. Cast it on some Huskars that got 40 attacks into the assassin. They then got 40 attacks into another character, maybe a captain, after they'd finished off the assassin, and then they finished off by charging into the flank of a giant. So in one turn they got 120 dice. So that was an awesome spike for Krufnur, and it's one of those things that will be no doubt talked about in tournaments for years to come. But anyway, very different army to mine. Lots of hard-hitting troops, but only 8 units that I really had to worry about in this mission, which is Smoke and Mirrors, where there's loot counters scattered all over the table, and we get points for those. So my aim is to try and deal with the Fallen if I can, and stay out of range of the Huskars till I need to engage with them, but not sure whether or not this plan would work. So let's move on and have a look at deployment. Let's have a look at deployment then. I deployed my Night Raiders and Huskals on my left. Had some terrain here. What I really should have done though is put the Night Raiders both on here and put the Huskals out on the flank, or vice versa. That was just going to slow up the Huskals. I realised that after we'd deployed that was a bit dumb. Thane nearby to support them. I've got my Lord here giving me that stealth aura around here, and the Magus with the lightning bolt. So I really wanted to hit those conclaves. I think Dave made a bit of a mistake here actually. He wanted to use this wall as cover, so I had his conclaves up quite close to the to the deployment line. They got a 30-inch range or something, so I think you're better off deploying them further back. He talking about it afterwards. He said he was worried about the potential sight lines and stuff, but it's the threat. And even so, even somewhere back here, he's going to be able to cover all this area quite nicely and not quite be in range of charges quite so early on. Anyway, I've got Mounted Sons supporting them and the Tundra Wolves. What I wanted to do with the Tundra Wolves is to zoom over this way and take out a conclave if I could. But they also had the option of swinging around this way towards my other battle group. I think this is the 2-point objective I put in. This was a 1, and I think I put another 1 down there. As it turned out, this was a 2. This was a 1, and maybe this one was a 1 as well. So we both kind of ended up deploying our objectives in the same area. I had 2 units of Mounted Sons over here and a Thane. The thought being to swing around this way, put some pressure on that flank, or even go round wide around the rough going. Dave deployed quite wide, had a little battle group here of the Fallen that can go through the terrain with their Pathfinder, and he had a Lord supporting them. So that was something I really needed to keep an eye on and wanted to avoid if I could. Happy to throw my Thane out to try and slow them down if necessary. As I said, the Conclave's up quite close to the deployment line, and he had the Huskals and his Lord and Frostfang beside them. So he's got quite a powerful battle group on this side, and then equally another quite solid battle group on the other side with the Huskals, Krufner, Kevin Dweller, and the Fallen. Again, Fallen being able to use that bad going terrain. So we've both kind of broken into 2 battle groups. And just from a slightly different angle, gives quite a nice view of the overall battlefield from here. So yeah, I want to take that objective for 2, that objective for 1, and then see where I'm assuming if I can hold around this area, hopefully there'll be objectives around there that I can hold as well. But anyway, on to turn 1. With those conclaves, I decided to take the first turn, so advanced onto the hill here. Dogs advance in front of them. As you can see, I am aiming to charge there with them if I can. Moved into the terrain there. Realised that I'd stuffed things up with the Huskals, so moved them back a bit. The Thane went forward, deciding that he was going to be used as chef if necessary. Round here, Thane went out wide, and the Mounted Sons on the inside line, just to put a bit of pressure on over here. My shooting was pretty good. I think I caused 3, maybe 4 wounds between the lightning bolts and the shooting, even though I needed 6s with these guys. And I rolled really well with the nerve check and actually went to kill one, and that's why the Hand of God is there. But unfortunately, the Lord was just in 9 inches, and he was able to re-roll it, and it survived. So curses. So there we go. Typical turn 1, little bit of missile fire and sparring from me. Dave's turn 1, and he advanced up here with the Lord and the Fallen, putting pressure on my flank here. Bit of jockeying around over here, but not too much. This unit of Fallen came in to put a bit of pressure on my flank this way as well, and he turned to face the threat of my mounted guys here. I got quite a powerful battle group in that direction. Shooting, I got lucky. I only took a single wound on the the Tundra Wolves. They're in nice charge range here, but they're also in charge range of this guy and that guy. And I was tempted to just try and sacrifice them by putting some wounds on the hero on my turn 2. But really, the main aim was to try and shut down these guys if I could. So let's turn on to turn 2, see what I decided to do. Right, this is partway through turn 3. My Tundra Wolves charged that conclave, killed it, then turned to face the Huskarls and the Lord. And this is just partway through Dave's turn. He charged me, so I was definitely going to get squashed afterwards, but I was happy I got the conclave. As I said, I was really tempted to have a crack at the Lord with the Tundra Wolves, put some wounds on him first, but decided in the end against it that I really needed to deal with the conclaves. My shooting and my lightning bolt looks like it might have been 3 or 4 wounds on the other conclave, but didn't destroy it. The Fallen have come charging in against my Thane, but luckily they've gone over the wall, so they are hindered, even though they've got Pathfinder. Doesn't work against obstacles, and he's got his Lord coming in to support. Over here, I made a bit of a mistake. I sent the Snow Troll Prime forward to basically do this, act as chaff against the Fallen. But then at the very last minute, I thought, why don't I send the Lord in as well for a bit of support? But I put the Lord about an inch in front of the Snow Troll Prime. So what that meant is that the Fallen hit him, kill him, carry on into the Snow Troll. Should have had him behind the Snow Troll. So that was a bit of a silly move. But let's just have a look how that turns out on the next photo. And just this way he's sending forward the Cavern Dweller against my 2 units of Mounted Sons. And he's also got Krufnir and the Huskarl. So mobility wise, I think I've got enough to force the combats when I want to over on this side, but it's never going to be 100% sure of anything while we still have that Cavern Dweller and Krufnir running around there as well. Okay, and this is at the end of turn 3 now. So my Thane sacrificed himself for the greater good. Dave tried to retreat to try and get off the wall, but didn't do so. That meant that I was going to be able to charge here without being hindered. These guys weren't going to be able to charge, but my other Night Raiders have line of sight, so they can come charging in on that flank there, the old closing the door maneuver, if there was one. The Tundra Wolves have died. That was always going to happen. Over here, really unlucky for Dave. That 5 is the number of wounds on my Lord. So my Lord ended up just being wavered, which is what that yellow counter stands for. So rather than killing him and smashing into the Snow Troll Prime, he's now going to be counterattacked by the Prime and also by my Sons of Gorgon. So that is a tad unfortunate for him. And over here, as I said, we've got that stalemate. I can send my Thane forward when I'm ready. The Cavern Dweller is still out of range, and I'm just getting these guys in as well. So my plan is to try and hit them with 2 units when I'm ready to charge him, or if he charges me, then I'm going to counter attack with those 2 units. So I'm quite happy where things are sitting there. Okay, partway through turn 3, charged in with the Huskarls, Night Raiders in the flank, and I wavered the Fallen over here. My Mounted Sons, and this actually must be just at the very start of Dave's turn, actually. I'll show you why in a minute. And my Snow Troll smashed the Fallen, 14 wounds, happy with that. Unfortunately, I then rolled a double 1. So from going from, yes, that's pretty awesome, it went to, oh shit, now what's going to happen? So yeah, so wavered and double 1 there, not ideal. And this is the start, and so the Cavern Dweller has just charged my Thane. Let's have a look at the next photo, see what else Dave does on his turn. This is the bit of the game where things hang in the balance and it really could go either way. The Fallen are wavered. The hero comes zooming in this way and puts 4 wounds on my Night Raiders. My other Night Raiders and the mages had killed the other unit of the Conclave. The Huskarls are advancing over here. Lord came charging in at my little Lord. Not sure if he actually made contact or if he was just short. Looks like he was just short, but because of the way the hills are, sometimes we didn't quite get the figures into contact because it's just a wee bit fiddly. So not 100% sure there. Counterattacked with the Fallen here that weren't dead, and I took 7 wounds. As you can see, that's a 2-point objective there. There's a 1 there as well. Cavern Dweller wavered my Thane, which was far from ideal for me. So that was a bit of a nuisance. And the Huskarls are advancing here, but they're a bit stuck because it's terrain. And Krufner's trying to add support where he can as well. So things are pretty much in the balance here, and it could go either way at this stage. End of my turn 4, start of Dave's turn 4, and things are looking a wee bit dicey still. My shenanigans have been paying off though. Killed the Fallen with my Huskarls, put a wound on the Lord over here, managed to shoot off the Huskarls. I got extremely lucky there. Did about 2, maybe 3 wounds with my Night Raiders, but then Mr. Tin Opener himself, the mages cast Alchemist Curse, did 5 wounds on them, and then I rolled a 9, I think, for my nerve test. Or he rolled. Oh yeah, I rolled a 9. It's you that rolls. I can't remember who rolls. Anyway, it's been too long a weekend. But failed the test, and they're out of range of the Lord, and so there was no reroll, and poof, the Huskarls evaporated. So I was very happy to see that. Over here, there was some shenanigans. I moved my mounted. No, I don't even think I just think I just ended up leaving him where he was. Ended up no, I can't remember. I was going to do a bit of a nimble and then back move, but I don't think I was going to get out of the way. So I think I just ended up hitting the Cavern Dweller in the flank with this unit and killing him, but I wasn't able to turn without where my other units were, and so that meant I'm just in 11 inches, I think, of the Huskarls, and they're going to come charging into the flank here by the looks of things. And my Lord has just gone up here to slow down the Lord on Frostfang, and I've taken care of the other Fallen unit. So things have definitely fallen my way now because I've taken out the Fallen. Both units have fallen, and the Huskarls, still some dangerous units, but pretty spread out. And there's a 2 objective here, and I know that that's a 2 objective there as well. And a bit of revenge from the Huskarls. Dave sends them smashing into the flank of my mounted sons. That's 40 dice. I don't think I'm going to survive that, and I think they are well and truly destroyed. And on to about turn 5, and things are still well and truly up in the air. As you can see here, my mounted sons have got 11 wounds and are wavered, so they're stuffed basically because they've got a Lord here. That means the Lord's going to be able to take that 2-point objective. Krufner's by another 2-point objective. He just doesn't know it yet. The Huskarls aren't injured at all, and they've got me blocked, so I need to clear those out and advance onto there. So really, if he plays his cards right, the two most important objectives could go to Dave. He's also got his Lord over here that's going to be able to zip round. I can get over here to try and contest. I'm not sure the Huskarls are going to get anywhere they need to, but I'm going, I could quite easily lose this if things don't go well this turn or next. It was definitely in the balance, and I wasn't sure which way it was going to go. Right, I think I put about 12 wounds on the Huskarls and wavered them, so there's going to be no counter charge from them. So, and that was the end of turn 5, I think. So they're not going to do much anymore. Krufner's over here contesting that too. I retreated with my 11, and I cast Alchemist Curse on this guy, put some wounds on him, which made him public enemy, my mage's public enemy number 1, and I also shot at him from the Night Raiders, and I think that looks like it's 6 wounds on the Lord there. Huskarls charged this guy. What he ended up doing though is doing his 90-degree nimble pivot, which just gave him line of sight over here, and he charged my Magus to shut down that Alchemist Curse. He decided he really didn't like that spell. And this is about the end of turn 5. So yes, the mages got taken out by the Lord. I think Krifner may not have asked to see his head. But anyway, he's got 2 points there. The Mounted Sons are long gone. This guy could potentially head over there. I've killed those Huskarls now, so I should be able to advance over here, grab that 2. There's a 1 there that I can get to as well. These guys should be able to get over there. So 1, 2, ideally 4, but not guaranteed because my Mounted Sons have taken 6 wounds by the looks of it. So if they come up here, they're going to be, I guess, out of his line of sight though. And these guys could potentially go for a 1. So hopefully I've got enough. 1, 2, 3, maybe 5. But yeah, pretty close. And here is the situation at the end of turn 6. So the Lord ran away from that objective to try and just kill my Night Raiders. He could have got 2 points there. And Krufner went charging over here against my Huskarls. I've got that objective though, 3-1. Neither of us have got that 1. And I've claimed this one with my Mounted Sons, and my Thane has got 1 there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 to 0. But he was just trying to kill a couple of last points at the end there. So round 3 and 4 really touch and go, but then the dice kind of fell my way in those turns 5 and 6. But really good game. Really wasn't sure how to deal with the Varangur myself. I was hoping that the fact that I had slightly more mobility would count in my favor, but he was better with bag going and stuff, so I really was a bit unsure how it was all going to pan out, but I managed to sneak through with a win in the end. So great game, Dave. Really enjoyed playing you and against this army, and I look forward to maybe having a rematch, hopefully at No Surrender in a couple of months' time. So there we have it. Managed to come away with a win, but could have gone either way in the middle sections of that game. So 4 games down out of 5 going into the weekend. I was wanting to win 3 ideally. So happy to be 3-1 going into the final round. Who played? Jeff played Mark in that round as well. The Ogres versus the Riverguard, and the Ogres absolutely slaughtered the Riverguard for Jeff to go 4-0. So Jeff is way out in front of everybody at this stage. I think I'm about 12 or 14 points behind him, so only chance for me to win is for me to have a big win and Jeff to lose quite badly. And he was playing his old friend Eugene with the Ratkin in the final round, and I came up against Eric and his Salamanders, and that was one of the two lists, Eugene's being the other, that I really was hoping not to have to face, because I hadn't faced either of them before, had no idea what their armies can do or capable of, so it was really going to be just keeping my fingers crossed and seeing how it goes. But let's have a look at at Eric's army. So Eric's got quite a large army. He's got 13 units and 25 unit strength. He's got a couple of regiments of Gecko hunters, Gekota hunters, or whatever they're called. They've got bows, so good for a bit of plinking damage. He's got 2 regiments and a troop of Salamander primes, which are his main infantry units. He had some Salamander unblooded, a big horde of those with a brew of strength, so they got high nerve and meleeing on 4 but 30 attack, so got to watch out for them. 2 regiments of the Ancients. Again, they were 2 of his more hard-hitting units, melee 3, defense 6, so they were going to take a bit of stopping at some point. Had a regiment of fire elementals, and apparently Eric's had great fun over this weekend casting fireballs with his greater elementals. Got fireball 8, and he's got a mage priest with fireball 16, so between them they've been dropping 24 fireballs a turn on armies. So I really wanted to figure out how to deal with the greater fire elemental and the mage priest, and I was hoping that maybe my trickster's wand would finally come in useful. He also has a Lechalodon, which is some kind of little lizard monster, and finally a clan lord as well. So an army I really wasn't sure of what it was going to be capable of, but again, I think I've got a bit more mobility than him. One thing that also made this game a wee bit more challenging at the start is Eric took the scrying gem, so I had to deploy about 3 units before he even started to, so that was going to be interesting as well. But anyway, let's have a look at the deployment. Just a couple of shots of Eric's army. It's absolutely beautiful. It was my pick of most best painted army. He actually won it last year at No Surrender, the start of it, and has been building it up since then. Done an outstanding job. Really love the color palette that he's used with it, and it just looks such a unified army. It's yeah, a real credit to him, and beautiful army to fight against as well. Some really nice armies over the weekend, but this was my pick of all of them that were there. And so here we've got his big horde of unbloodied that look pretty awesome, and you can see that they've actually been done so that they can be regiments or they could be troops as well. And then he's got his ancients beside them, then his little gecko guys and his other primes over there. Yeah, as I said, awesome looking army. Real pleasure to play against it. And those things counters at the back are the little special counters that the Salamanders get. Right, let's have a look at deployment. Now I got to deploy 3 units first, so I think I put my Night Raiders and my Snow Troll Prime down first. If we look at the objectives though, from end of turn 2 onwards, you can actually claim them if you've got more unit strength. I put 1 out wide here, the idea that these guys were going to run down there and get it. I put 1 on the hill there, and I put 1 out wide. So I really wanted to focus on this side of the table, but I was hoping that maybe the Tundra Wolves would be able to sneak through and do something. That was before we deployed, of course. Now Eric put his here, 1 near the marshy pondy area, 1 in front of the woods there, so I was going to cover that with my Night Raiders, and 1 around here. But then the thing that puzzled me, then he really loaded up his flank on this side. Now given that I had to deploy 3 units first and that 2 of my objectives were over here, I was actually expecting him to be more deployed over this side. So when you look at that deployment, he's got the primes there and the hunters. So I really felt that my mounted sons and Thane were going to be able to rock around here, grab that objective, put some pressure on. I've got the mobility advantage again. I've got the Tundra Wolves. I've got 3 units of mounted sons. So I've got lots of 16, 18-inch charge range. I've got 15-inch charge range from the Thanes as well. Really wanted to deal with the greater fire elemental in the mage priest because I'd heard how nasty that combination of fireballs was, which is why I've put the Thane down here, who's got the trickster's wand. So he's got his primes out on his flank, ancients supporting them, and the lizard thing, some gecko hunters here, elementals, and then his big horde of unbloodied. But apart from the hill, lots of good going in the middle here for my mounted sons. More gecko hunter guys there and primes. I was hoping that I had more shots and that I would be able to shoot those guys off if I got a chance. So it's going to be interesting. Really wasn't sure how it was going to go. I knew he had surge. I knew he had fireballs. I wasn't sure what the ancients were capable of, or the primes really. So I was just going to have to wait and see how it went. But let's get on to turn 1. And turn 1, not surprisingly, Eric won the dice roll, moved pretty much everything forward, surged these guys forward a wee bit, got the unbloodied in behind the hill, moved forward here with the ancients, moved to cover that flank a bit, but that's 3 unit strength. I've got 4, so I was always sure that I move forward to here, I'm going to take it on my second turn, no worries there. I'd pretty much discounted this one. The big battle was going to be over the center one and this one for me, and facing that objective I've got 2 mounted sons and the Huskarls, so I was hoping I'd have more than enough heavy hitters to push them back off there and claim that later on in the game. But just a pretty standard first turn shooting. I think he shot at me, but with my stealthy and cover I didn't take any wounds. I may have taken a wound or 2 actually on the Tundra Wolf, so I actually moved them back a bit further out of range, forcing them to come a bit further forward. My mages came forward and cast Alchemist Curse at these guys, did some wounds. I sent my Lord forward, and as you can see, I must slowly be getting better because I actually made sure he was at least 5 inches in front of my other units. So what I'm doing here, and I sent the Huskarls forward a bit because I knew I had the mounted sons nearby as well, and the snow troll. So my thoughts are, if he comes in and does see me for whatever reason in charge, then snow troll in the side, or even night raiders, and these guys can come in the flank. But my lord, next turn I wanted to get him on the hill, and then once he's on the hill, charge into the horde if they don't come forward, and use them as chaff, and while they're fighting him, that would give me the opportunity to get these guys up into charge range as well, ideally. But I was really worried about these spellcasters. I tried to cast a hex from the trickster's wand. These guys are height 3, he's probably height 2, but I'm height 4, so I was able to see over the top, but I think I rolled a 3 and a 1, so didn't turn off the spell that I wanted to, but gave it a crack. And over here on my flank, you can see I'm already I think I'm in a pretty good position because I've got the Thane coming around, I've got the mounted sons. I'm going to take that objective, and I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to deal with these guys. And I also focused my archery and wavered those geckos over there. So if you look at it, it's a pretty linear defense again. I've got a lot of fast, hard-hitting units, and he's spread, as several of the armies this weekend have done, quite wide and with no depth to his deployment. So if I can punch a hole, then there's not going to be much preventing me from starting to roll up a flank. I think against an army facing mine, I think having played it a few times with it a few times now. I think having some chaff to take that initial impact would be quite good, because something like the Unbloodied, sure they got a high nerve, but I can potentially throw 36 dice at them, so I'm counting on myself to actually knock them out in a single hit. But anyway, let's just see what happens on turn 2. Eric continues putting pressure on this flank and moving forward with his primes and his ancients there. The gecko guys are coming forward, and they may have put a wound on me there. He really didn't appreciate me hitting him with an alchemist's curse, so he charged with his fire elementals into my mages, but only did 2 wounds. These defense 5, these mages are actually surprisingly resilient and stand up to quite a bit of punishment. Got 3 wounds on the Lord here, and I think that was a result of being hit by a fireball from this guy, but my Lord wasn't too bothered by that. And Eric moved on to the hill, so he covered his flank here nicely with that unit. I couldn't get into the charge with the Huskarls into the flank, but I'm in a position here that I can charge here. I'm not sure if he's probably hasn't got a charge angle, but I can charge into the fire elementals. He could charge into the fire elementals. I could also hit the big horde here with the Huskarls and the Mounted Sons, and the Snow Troll Prime I can throw into this guy to chaff him up. And round this side, I was in charge range of him with both the Thane and with my Mounted Sons, but out of his charge range, so he's just turned to face that. But I back my 2 units to take him out quite comfortably, and I'll also be close enough to claim that first objective as well. So at the end of his turn, I was looking at this going, I'm in a pretty good position here for some pretty serious charges in a minute. And I don't think the Thane took part in the charge. I think he just moved forward to try and block the elemental, but my Mounted Sons took out the fire elementals. My Lord, I did a triple charge. Lord plus Sons, Mounted Sons plus Huskarls destroyed the Unbloodied quite comfortably, and I managed to do a few wounds, chap these guys up, and my archers shot those gecko things off. And round here, my Thane and my Mounted Sons have destroyed that other unit as well. So, and I've claimed that objective. So this round, I took out 1, 2, 3, 4 units, and so that has really just completely smashed that side of the battlefield. And now what I need to do is just basically form a blocking line. If I can take care of this guy, and I've got the Huskarls ready to come in from the flank, things are not looking good for Eric at all. That was a really brutal turn 2 for him. I also ran away with the Tundra Wolves over here just to keep them out of range of the shooting. Eric's turn 3, he charged my Thane in the flank with his Ancients, and also in the front with the large, or the greater air elemental. That is an absolutely stunning model. I absolutely love the way he's done the flames on these guys. My Thane, surprisingly enough, got destroyed. But I'm destroyed, but I've still got Mounted Sons here, and a Lord as well. So Eric's in a bit of trouble. And the situation at the end of Eric's turn 3. So yep, he took out my Thane, turned to face, but yeah, I've got Mounted Sons here, Huskarls ready to go in the flank there. I've got a Frostfang can come in, I've got Mounted Sons that can come in. So I'm expecting to hopefully take out this guy and this guy at the end of my turn. And here we have the end of my turn 3. Sure enough, took out the greater air elemental. threw my lord into the little gecko guys, and I think I even may have wavered them just to add insult to injury. Took out the ancients over here, just ran them down. So really, he's just left with 1, 2, 3 units and a few heroes at this stage. I've got all my mounted sons coming down at him. I've got the Huskarls about to charge into his hero, his wizard guy. So Eric did his fourth turn. I think he charged in here, cast some fireballs, did no damage. The writing was well and truly on the wall, and so at that point he conceded. So comprehensive victory to the Varangur. I've been on the end of a couple of those results in the last few weeks from Gordon. He's absolutely smashed this army of mine with his ogres, and it's been all over by turn 4 a couple of times. So I know exactly how Eric felt. It's a bit disheartening when your army just implodes like he did in turn 2 and 3 there. I think looking at the battle afterwards, though, I think deployment wise he could have been a wee bit smarter as well. If this is where his objectives were, maybe more units over this. And over the course of this weekend, I've faced several much slower than me infantry armies that have deployed in quite linear fashion. And what that's meant is that I've been able to dictate which units I've been hitting. I think you really do need, when facing a mobile army like this, to have a bit of a defense in depth, have some chaff units, have a couple of expendable units to take that initial charge, tempt that charge out, and then counter charge. And that's what Gordon does to me game after game after game, pretty much anyway. So really enjoyed the weekend. Let's have a look at the final results. Somehow I managed to sneak away with a win overall because of that final game. Jeff unfortunately met his Waterloo against Eugene's Ratkin. Eugene stuck his way up after a couple of games where he lost earlier on and managed to claw his way back into third place, beating Mark by 1. So Eugene and Jeff both are from Dunedin. They play lots, regularly against each other, and so Eugene managed to take the ogres to pieces in that last round. So that big win to me meant that I was able to just sneak through and take first place. Very close though, 105 to 102. Second and third were close as well, 82-81. Nigel, my friend Nigel, with his Kingdoms of Men, came fifth, and actually Nigel and I in the doubles competition for the Oamaru Shield, we actually managed to take it out. So Team Nerf Herder claimed the shield this year, which was pretty awesome. But the other interesting thing is look at some of these kill points we've got over here. I got 8,500 out of 10,000 all up. Jeff got 8,600, so beat me by a couple hundred. But look at this. Eugene in 5 games killed 9,710 points worth of enemy units. That's over 1,950 points per game. So I'm really glad I didn't face those Ratkin. They were just nasty. But yeah, overall, really fun weekend. It wasn't about winning or losing or anything. It was just about having 5 really good fun games played in a really good friendly spirit, just celebrating wargaming really, and that's what it's all about. And yeah, want to thank everyone that travelled to Oamaru. We really do appreciate you guys coming from Christchurch and Dunedin. It's a bit of a big ask, and we're looking forward to catching up with some of you in a couple of months at No Surrender that Mark will be running up in Christchurch. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. It's been a bit of an interesting journey with my Varangur coming into this. tournament. I've had 8 games and 6 losses with them. 7 of those games have been against Gordon, and I've lost to him 6 out of those 7. So I wasn't expecting to do too well at all, but I think I just got lucky with some of the matchups, and that extra mobility of my mounted sons paid off in the end. But anyway, enough waffling for me. Thoroughly enjoyed the weekend. Thanks very much, Gordon, for all the organisation that you've put in to make it the success it was. Really look forward to being the TO next year and seeing these guys back, and hopefully we can slowly build it up from there. But anyway, enough waffling from me. That's all for this week. Ka kite anō. Until the next time, take care.